On this episode of Gears and Grub, we're going to be doing a 2-inch Rhino lift to give us more ground clearance over those boulders and rocks out on the trails.
This is the subject of today's gears portion of our video. Now, before we get started on this guy, I want to clean it up a little bit so we're working with the cleanest possible suspension. Before I do that, I need to disconnect from the battery the winch controller that we had to use on Monday's Alder Creek run, pulling Hefe up the hill. He was on his quad and he was just on ice, so we had to winch him up the hill. Anyhow, I'll update this once it's all done, and I return from the store with some yellow beers. Now that we've rinsed it all off, not a proper washing, but it's good and clean, we're going to go ahead and get started. And what we're going to do here in the rear is we're going to replace this with a mount and a block and a lift here to give us the extra travel. And then in the front, we're going to actually replace the lower mounting position with the spacer. We got the front end lifted. It looks clean enough for me to work on. We've got the necessary requirements for doing a job like this. Can of yellow beer. And we'll be grilling some meat later on, so we'll call it a day after we get some. We can just put this to music. So there's a spacer and a bolt that goes where the original shock mount was, and then I'm going to have to lower this just a little bit to get the shock to match up with the hole here. Same thing on the other side. This side's actually a little higher, but where this triangle is, they machined out they CNC'd out the back of this spacer so that it fits right over the little triangle mount where your little flange. Let's go ahead and lower this a little bit, see if we can get it to match here. That'll do. And there it is. Tighten that up on that side, and then we'll go do the other side, same thing. Then we'll go to the back. Alrighty, now with the new shock mounts in, definitely got a taller front end. Go down underneath, we can see what the finished product looks like. Gives us a bit more lift, as promised, just like in the brochure. Actually, the brochure lacked a lot of pictures, so we could. So here we have the driver's side rear mount done. Basically, bringing the mounting location out, forcing the shock to kind of stand up more vertically, which is in turn pushing down on the rear tire. It's extending out our suspension a little bit. It seems like we still have plenty of downward travel. One of my concerns was changing the geometry in the toe and then having something look goofy and then didn't handle as well. But so far so good. Caleb's working on the other side. Once we get that one in, we'll take it off the jack, set it back down, get some after photos, and take it out for a little spin. Okay, we're done. Our lift is installed. We definitely have a lot more ground clearance than we had before. I have some before pictures in my file archive somewhere. I'll get a good comparison out and include that. And I think the last thing we have to do here is take it out for a test drive. Yeehaw. So we hit King's Meats. All this stuff here. Get some bacon. This is venison. Ground venison.
Yep.
This is the genius that's going to take the ground venison, make venison balls, and wrap them in bacon.
There's venison, cheddar, and jalapenos.
Good Lord. Good Lord. All right, that sounds good.
I'm going to.
We're going to go to work and then cook it.
Today, because another girlfriend of ours is selling a camper. So, we might.
Nice.
Hannah's like, oh,
That
cool.
is
And I'm
beautiful.
like, Brian
Beautiful.
let the cat out of the bag and told Caleb about the camper that they can get for free. Oh, okay. I'm like, now I can't even. This one's like a 30 or 32 foot or something like that. Yeah. Evanston Williams, honey. Shepherd mix, who is
There they
not
are,
other
ready to go on the
dog
grill.
friendly.
So we're going to do some tri-tip too. Why not? We got
Hanging on the
andouille,
passenger seat there.
kielbasa, some bangers, deer balls, and tri-tip. Now you're scoring it, huh?
Oh yeah.
What does scoring it do?
When I go to season this, it's going to keep the seasoning in that fat. It'll help the fat render better too on the meat.
All right, that's good tips. There are many ways to start a barbecue. This might be the funnest. Yummy. Yummy.
How well goes King Brown?
This is my favorite utensil in the kitchen right here. I cook tri-tips in these.
Really?
18 to 20 minutes. Perfect every time.
Nice.
Juicy.
Yeah, but
Crisp, a little
on
crisp.
the outside,
Yeah, but
like
that
on
little.
a grill or something.
Yeah.
Going on.
And it's one, right? Yeah, it's one. And it's a dead virus vaccine. And there's a couple more months studies on that one than there are on the well, they use, and they're not giving the information on the side effects and, you know, how many, like, I'll wait a couple of years.
Throwing some of it on there.
Just a little splash of some love.
Good.
She was right with you.
Thanks. I get up
It
this
always
morning,
comes back to
Holly
whiskey.
gets up and she's like, "No kids are here. I can fuck walk naked anywhere I want." And we're like sitting here having coffee.
Seriously.
It's like, okay. And it's like, okay, throw some
Get a shot
pants on. God, I can't take you anywhere.
That's it. Now I'm gonna thank you.
It's really good in 7
God
Up.
damn.
Yeah.
Wow. With 7 Up.
You know, I've had it really cold before, but I think room
Oh my gosh,
temperature is
and iced
good.
tea. No, the peach is better room temperature.
Yeah.
The caramel is better cold.
Makes sense.
Like a toddy.
Oh, I got my back to you.
It's cold
For a long time. We do all of our own seed. Everything.
My
from
home
seed
fermented apple cider.
You came second in a Connecticut AT&T sweepstakes.
Came in second.
Hey, John!
It's a little glass. The cider comes out about 13%, 14% is the strongest one I've ever made. But it's pretty smooth. After a couple of months, I've accented this one with ginger and lemongrass. But other than that, it's organic apple cider, it's brown sugar, and yeast. That's pretty much everything that goes into this.
And they have it.
So, we're going to drink. Cheers. So, it just came off the grill. We're going to wrap it, rest it, probably drink some more because, you know, well,
It's not resting yet. It's not even. This is just after the smoke.
Smoking a little smoke.
God
damn, dude.
A little bit late.
It's all shiny.
I'm worried about it. No.
That's that syrup. That's that sheen.
What doesn't come through in the video is the smell. We're smelling. What are you doing?
And then I want to draw a picture. I have not drawn.
So here's the unveiling.
Back into 7th grade, like we'd get summer break.
Wet
and then
panties,
all of a
hold
sudden
it.
we started school.
Yeah,
And so
it's
everybody
got a very
was
smoky
going.
aroma, bouquet, if you
And you
will.
want to know what happened every year? 6th grade, taller than all their friends, and we come back from 6th grade and all
Series on Hugh Hefner.
No.
I started watching it this morning. It is actually
Banger.
a pretty damn good
And
show.
Dewey
Netflix or
for
what?
Boston.
All
All
from.
from Kingsmeads.
But it's about basically the whole thing about how Hugh Hefner got started and started Playboy. It wasn't Playboy. It was Stag magazine at first. And
Stag Mag?
yeah, that's what he was shooting for.
It was Stag Mag.
And it was.
Slice them off. Hang on. This one looks like it might be defective. Quality control says.
But for trade,
I need to eat
would
this.
get my hair done for just for cost of the product. Yeah. Because he was working.
It's really good.
But
Don't
the
tell him.
salons have kind of been closed.
Real big.
I just,
Really good though.
with the limited amount of work that she is able to do, I don't want to take up.
It's pretty good, Brian.
Did I do okay?
Paying her.
Did okay.
And that's where it started. It's caught on.
Slicing up all of these sausage is.
They're on my canvas. And we've got it all set up because so she sits on we sit diagonal from the guys. And Jason's on the passenger and I'm on
So that's it for this first episode of Gears and Grub. Hope you found it all entertaining. I know I did. And hopefully with these next few videos, we'll have a little more on the gears. That Rhino lift was way more simple than I anticipated it being. It was a piece of cake, actually. Anybody could do that. And some more trail stuff. It's starting to rain here. We are in winter here in California. As we come into spring, we'll be doing some more wheeling. We'll get some good video of that. Some stuff up on the Rubicon Trail, hopefully. I'll have that up pretty soon. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button.